Richard Branson once told me that the reason why he bought Necker Island was not to have an island, but it was because people were tired of going to boardrooms, and that Necker Island provided this place for the incubation of ideas. And that's what's happening here at Calamigos.
I'm so thrilled to be here at the Future CMO Summit, the gorgeous Calamigos Ranch, kicking off with our first guest, Jennifer Warren from Indeed. Jennifer, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. It'd be hard to not be doing well in this great environment. It's been such a fun summit so far. Thank you.
It really has been. And we're hosting an episode of Marketing for the Now to show the next generation of marketers how these marketing leaders are thinking about the future of relevance. So tell us a little bit about you and how you landed up in your current role.
I lead our global brand marketing and creative team at Indeed. I've been in marketing for 25 years now, and so I've seen so much change, over that time, but I absolutely think this is the most transformative time that we've had in marketing. And I landed in my role after spending my first part of the career on the agency side, which is why I love working with you guys, and really working across a lot of different brands, big brands, small brands, and understanding just what it meant to be consumer focused and serving needs for the clients' businesses and how to grow their business based on that, and absolutely fell in love with brand building. And then I wanted to get closer to the business and really understand why some of the decisions that were being made. And so then I transitioned into a CMO role for Radio Shack, and was throwback. Was part of one of their turnaround teams, and that was also just honestly one of my favorite career experiences. I think it's because your back's against the wall and you can really be bold in your efforts. And so I was a CMO for a few years and for a few different brands, and then I had an opportunity to join Indeed, and it was a global opportunity. It was getting into tech, and that was new to me as well. And I'm always attracted by places that are going to allow me to contribute value as well as grow and do something I've never done before. And I've now been there almost 8 years now.
Amazing. By the way, I loved Radio Shack when I was a kid. I would go with my parents on the weekends and whatnot. Loved it.
So fun.
We need to bring it back.
I know.
All right. So let's talk about Indeed, though, because I think Indeed is really redefining the job marketplace, especially globally. What's a recent campaign or creative direction that you recently have been a part of that pushed the boundaries of what people expect from a job platform?
Well, thank you for asking. We just recently, 2 weeks ago, launched a new campaign for our AI agent called Career Scout. And it's a completely new experience. It helps you find jobs based on your skills. It helps you uncover opportunities you may have never even considered before, just based on what you do, based on your preferences. It helps you learn how to interview. So it'll go through a series of interview questions with you, give you feedback on that. So that was really an exciting campaign to launch, really positioned it as a completely new way to search, which I think people are looking for right now. It's a really tough job market. And so, yeah, that was an exciting campaign. We launched in big sporting events and, of course, also across social media with you guys.
Yeah, Career Scout. By the way, all listeners, check this out if you are ever looking for your next adventure career-wise. I think it's really serving an unmet need while also redefining. You mentioned like really identifying Indeed as tech, while also identifying an opportunity for you all to serve your community in a new and different way beyond just a job board.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
So how do you measure whether what you're doing is showing up relevantly in culture beyond just impressions or engagement? You mentioned sporting events. How do you determine like what success looks like?
That's a great question. For this campaign in particular, we are measuring share of branded job search. As every other brand, we have started seeing a decline in search. So one of the things we're looking at are people searching for Career Scout. We want to make sure we got the name out there, and we are seeing some success. Yeah. Yes, we're seeing some success around that. We're looking at account creates, so those that are signing up for accounts. And then we're also just tracking social chatter and seeing what people are saying about the product and the experience. And tracking sentiment, positive versus negative sentiment around it, or people recommending it to their friends and things like that.
Amazing. And let's think a little bit more broad. You mentioned some of the amazing CMO opportunities that you've led and teams you've led. Who is one CMO that you look up to, or you think is doing something cool?
Well, Corey Elf Beauty is one, and I can't even say that I have met her. She just came on my radar with some of the really bold campaigns that she had done, and I think that's what I admire the most is, when you're working for big corporations, it's really hard to sometimes take those bold ideas and get them sold through the system. And I think she also works at a culture that really appreciates that, but it's still really hard to do that kind of work and get it out into the world. And so I really admire that.
Yeah, they've had so many bold, unexpected moves. Shout out Corey and her whole team at ELF. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jennifer. This was a fascinating conversation, and it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we're back now with an incredible guest, Shachar Scott. Shachar, how are you doing?
I'm doing so good. Thank you so much for having me.
It has been such a pleasure to reconnect with you a little bit here in Malibu. You are an LA local, and you said you've been here before, but never for a conference. So what do you think?
I mean, every conference will need to be here from now on. And thank you so much for having me here. This place is just magical, and it's just been incredible to connect with such brilliant marketers. Obviously, love seeing you and Gary and the whole Vayner team. But obviously, in this environment, the vibes are just very on point.
The vibes are immaculate, as the kids would say.
Yes.
So, Shachar, you've had a fascinating career in the world of marketing. You've done a lot of really cool stuff at some of the biggest and most loved brands in the world, particularly in the tech space. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yes, it has been a long journey, 25 years, and kind of always been in the intersection of marketing and tech, and had the privilege of working at Apple and Snapchat and Bumble, and most recently at Meta. And it's just been so fun to kind of always be where the industry is just evolving so dramatically because of the technology and the innovation that is changing the way that marketers and brands connect with their customers in just way more immersive ways, as you even said earlier today, with the glasses, like just being hands-free and being more present. We've just seen so many things change from the beginning of digital video, social, and obviously now with AI, everything is changing. So it's been very, very interesting.
You called out a couple of key milestones, and I'm curious, do you get like a spidey sense when you're like, this is gonna be it? I
mean, I like to say I can like see around corners, but I mean, I think, it's been really fascinating because I'm a mom. I've got twins that are teenagers. They keep me really current in what's not only happening, but what's coming in a way that has been really fascinating to also just like see how they grew up, with like native gestures and swipes, all these things that took us a little while to acclimate. They just like are born knowing how to do these things and communicate with pictures and replacing the keyboard with, a picture of the ceiling, because that's how they tell their friends that they're like alive. And, so they really also help. But I think I've been very lucky to be at the right place at the right time in the right role for lots of different companies.
You know what they say, you make your own luck. So I always say that when people say they're lucky.
Thank you.
Okay, you get a little bit of a spidey sense. You've been a part of a number of different innovation launches over the years. We just talked a little bit about hands-free. Do you think that might be the next future device that replaces the iPhone that is glued to my fingertips 24/7?
I don't know that it will replace, but I think that it will continue to evolve. And yes, I think that the next computing platform will be something that we wear, and it won't necessarily be something that lives in your pocket or just in your hands. And I think that kind of heads-up display and the ability to overlay information on the world is something that we'll continue to see advance and become more accessible and more intuitive and more personalized. It should never interfere. Like, technology should be invisible. It should always enhance the experience, but it shouldn't get in the way of us being able to communicate in a way. And I think, you see that with neural bands and neural interfaces and just the ability to gesture commands as opposed to always using voice like we do now all the time with either Siri or Alexa or insert, platform here. So I do think that things will become more gesture-based in a way that feels more like you and I can have this conversation and I can respond to a text without anybody knowing that I am multitasking.
That's going to be crazy. Shachar, you mentioned you were at the intersection of marketing and tech, and I would also add culture to that. I feel like that's really been a through line across your career, doing groundbreaking campaigns, securing incredible talents. How do you weave those things together?
Such a great question. I like to think that we're like students of people. I also have incredible partners like Vayner that also keep us really relevant and ahead of what's happening and think about connecting with real, users of our products, but also, as you said, like culture makers, not just people that are involved, but really people that are making culture relevant in a way that is exciting and also allows technology to not be scary and be something that you can connect to in a way that resonates with you as a consumer, as a mom, as, a student of what's happening in the world. And, I think like you have to study people in order to understand culture and understand how to break through. But you also have to be comfortable trying a lot of things and taking risks, and not everything is going to land. But with the advent of obviously our platforms and social and different ways to communicate with consumers in really quick ways, you can get feedback really quickly to know if something is resonating or working. So you don't have to wait months for data to say this did or did not work. Like pretty quickly if something did, and then if it does, you do it again and again and again. Double down.
And then last thing that I want to ask you is, Shachar, you're also a master of bringing together partners. It's actually very hard for many clients to like manage IATs and manage different partners who are working on behalf of a brand. And you always manage to do so in a really masterful and classy way. People love working with you across your different jobs. Talk to me a little bit about how you would advise other, future CMOs to build those teams and build those networks.
Thank you. That's such a nice compliment. I started my career on the agency side, and
she gets the grind.
I do. I have a lot of empathy, but also a lot of respect. And I know that, our partners scale, at every company that I've worked at, they have scaled our teams internally. And there's no way that we could have achieved what we aspired to do without the support and the partnership. So for me, it is like, they are just an extension of the team. So I treat our partners like I do our team members. And I think that has allowed for like extreme collaboration to happen. And I do like to bring my partners with me wherever I go, because they are an extension of, how we make amazing marketing happen.
All right, last one, rapid fire. Who's a CMO you look up to or you think is doing something badass?
You. First of all, you are just stunning. You're brilliant. You are a master connector. And you also look amazing, and I just love being around you. Your energy, you're truly inspiring to me. So, and also have been like an amazing friend. We've had so many great moments where you've brought together marketers and their families. We got to see Taylor Swift together in Miami this year or last year. I love being around the world wherever you are. So keep inviting me, please, to amazing places.
Absolutely will do. Thank you so much, Shachar. And we continue on with a marketing star, Matt Kerbel. Thank you for being here with us.
I'm so happy to be here with you guys in Malibu. Thank you for having me.
Did you rent a Turo?
I did rent a Turo.
Okay, and how was the experience from LAX?
The experience was wonderful. All I had to do was go to the parking lot and check in and get in my car and get the heck to Malibu. And I got a little awesome 2019 Mercedes Coupe convertible.
Ooh.
Bombed up the PCH, had the blast of my life, and everybody should get Turo.
Yeah, that sounds like a really perfect California moment.
It fit the vibe.
Okay,
Fit the vibe.
vibes are vibing.
Vibes are vibing.
Okay, Matt, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been at Turo, which for anybody who doesn't know is basically like Airbnb, but for cars. For just over 3 years, I lead global brand strategy for the company. We are certainly seeking to disrupt not just car rental, but also car ownership. Yeah.
And are those cars owned by individual people?
They are, yeah. So we call them hosts, and the consumers are the guests. And we have an incredible host community of hundreds of thousands of people around the world who take it incredibly seriously, are super hospitable, super professional, and an increasing number actually have multiple cars and do it full time and make an incredible living on Turo.
Amazing. What brought you to Turo? What were you doing before?
Yeah, so I was at a couple startups, took a stab in a couple industries I was really passionate about, and unfortunately the pandemic sort of upended those, whereas obviously others got their wings during the pandemic. And one of those was actually Turo, where people wanted to rent cars, but the car rental crunch was happening, and so it was really hard to rent a car the traditional way. But people are sitting there seeing their cars basically not being used because they're working from home. And so the supply and the demand really was able to take off, and the company tripled in size. And I just see such an incredible opportunity in the peer-to-peer way of renting cars. I feel like it's more magical to pay somebody as opposed to a company. I think that, you can get the exact car that you want. And I've had such ick experiences in traditional car rental like a lot of people have. And so I was just really drawn to helping to inspire the next generation of car rental and car usership.
And you're doing a fantastic job. A lot of Turo's campaigns are very creative, very fun, a little out of the box. You just showed me one that is launching or launched with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Talk to me a little bit about that creative process.
Yeah, long story short, it really starts with seeing an opportunity and an insight. And we know that, there's an increasing amount of people, particularly younger folks, who want nothing to do with owning a car. A car today, the average price is actually $50,000, and then annually we have about $11,000 in cost per year. So you're talking about something that was once very affordable is now basically untenable. And so we just see an opportunity to, use Turo to be more flexible, more affordable, much more simple. And we got Sarah Michelle Gellar to come back right around Halloween time and slay car ownership. And so that's what it's all about. And now we have the 10 Days of Slay with Sarah Michelle, and we just love a good nostalgia campaign. And it's a way to kind of use an oldie but a goodie who's super extremely relevant still to bring Turo back into the spotlight in a really, really wonderful and exciting and new way.
Very fun. Anyone who's watching this, check out that campaign. Adore Sarah Michelle Gellar. Matt, I also I think we met on LinkedIn, which is great. I want to ask you how you started with sharing your insights on marketing onto your LinkedIn, because you've amassed quite a following. Yeah,
it's silly. And I tell people it started defensively. I got fired many years ago for artistic, strategic, whatever you want to call it, differences with a CEO, a founder of a company. I didn't like that feeling of sort of limbo and helplessness, and I felt like, wow, like LinkedIn is this incredible opportunity, this 24/7 networking party where I can, build that network and create a safety net. And I think that in doing so, which started with just connection requests and comments and not posting at all, I was able to build these relationships of people that were asking me to say what was on my mind, because we were having these really wonderful conversations. And then I think over time I just gained confidence in the fact that evidently I have things that I want to say on the internet that people
want to hear.
People evidently, I've never been one to try to quote unquote hack an algorithm or try to do this for any sort of reason other than just sharing what's on my mind at that moment. And I love that we were able to meet, and I love that I've been able to meet so many people through LinkedIn. It's honestly changed my life.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
And Matt, tell me about a CMO or marketing leader who you think is doing something interesting that maybe you look up to.
I love this. Two badass women are Kim Chappelle and what they just did with Bobby and Cardi B, and what they've continued to do to really stand up for what they believe in and empowering kind of the modern parent is truly inspiring. And then I'm going to say Fabi Torres and what's going on at Gap? And that comeback story that
#client
feels, there you go. I just think that they're doing a lot of what kind of New Balance did. So shout out to Chris also. I just think that these brands that are taking their values that are kind of timeless and iconic and bringing them to the forefront in really, really creative and fun ways, and taking the spirit of dance and those Gap commercials we all grew up on, and then doing it in a modern, super fun and social first way is really, really amazing as well. And I know that her team absolutely loves her. So shout out to Fabi as well.
She is such a gem. We adore Fabi as well. Matt, thank you so much for being on the show.
Anytime. Thank you.
Next up, we have the one and only Amy Lund of Gallo. Amy, how's it going?
It's going fantastic. Thank you for having me.
It has been such a pleasure. We were just saying these coffee cups should be replaced with wine glasses because this is the queen of wine herself.
Oh, thank you. They should be. Next time I'll be more prepared for you.
Okay, good. So Amy, tell us a little bit about your career and how you ended up leading integrated marketing at Gallo.
Yes, not a traditional marketer. So I have been with Gallo for 25 years, been an amazing company. I've been in every department but HR and legal. So started in production, so I'm back of the house, did production operations, supply
Production
chain.
of wine.
Production of wine, yes.
Not
and,
ads.
Also was first female spirits plant manager, got a rotation there. I did new products innovation, got a stint at corporate strategy, and then got my first foray into a business unit, so within spirits. So we moved into the spirits business unit, and it was led at the time by Ernest Gallo, who's now our CEO, and I got to run the operations and really kind of the senior finance role within that P&L, which was exciting. From there, Ernest asked me to stay and build the marketing capabilities for spirits. And we were a wine company, and spirits behave fundamentally different than wine. So much more about the branding, the actual brands. You can build a brand within that space. It's not as fragmented as wine. So we had a tremendous amount to learn. So really building what we call our on-premise capabilities, built our brand positioning, how we do that. Now we have that across the whole organization, and implemented agile marketing there for the first time. Ernest got promoted into CEO, and I got the opportunity to go work for our CMO, Stephanie Gallo, and I've been doing that in the capacity for the last it's almost been 5 years. So I have the honor of leading our internal creative, our agency procurement for across all of the brands. We have about 200 brands. We focus really primarily on 30. I do PR, which is your traditional trade consumer, has partnerships in there, influencers in there as well. And then I have our digital team as well as our paid media. So very exciting. And then recently, I took on the honor of leading our corporate comms. So now I do our corporate comms internally and externally, which includes crisis comms, which is really fun.
Okay, is crisis comms the part of your job you like the most?
No. It's actually, if you're prepared, it's fine. So if you have your values, your principles, you have your work processes in place, it's smooth sailing. You just have to be prepared and run your scenarios.
Okay, you mentioned you have 200 brands in your portfolio. What's your favorite one?
Oh, Whitehaven.
Oh, okay, what's that?
Absolutely. It's a Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's kind of a surprise and delight. It's got a tremendous runway and potential, and we're working heavily on really kind of building that brand and that brand awareness, and going to switch gears into relevancy.
Okay, so let's talk about switch gears into relevancy. What do you mean by that? And also, with a lot of the Gallo brands, so many of them are so culturally relevant. How do you drive that? So
wine is traditionally, really any alcohol bev, is typically been driven just by distribution. So let's get in the shelf. The consumer is fundamentally changing. You and I talked about this over lunch. They don't shop the way they used to. They're not discovering brands in the store. So it is extremely important that we have an online presence, but we do that in a relevant way. So we're building that muscle. We're learning through partners like yourselves on how to best do that with Barefoot. So taking a entry-level wine, introducing new consumers to the category. That brand in particular has brought in over 2 million new consumers to the category, a category that's declining and facing some headwinds. So it's important that we make that category relevant. How do you do that across a portfolio of brands? You got to focus on the right ones authentically.
And the big ones.
Yes.
Okay, also you've done a lot of cool work in the world of sports partnerships. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes. So we do a lot with Barefoot. So we own the wine exclusive rights in the NFL, for the NFL, which they've been a tremendous partner. And we focused primarily the first 3 years just on Barefoot, really to understand how they work, what creative's working the best for us and what channels are working the best for us, and then how do you keep your sales team focused as well, so kind of from the operational marketing perspective. And now we're introducing new brands into that as we move out of their casual fans into their kind of their fanatics.
Amazing. And how are you thinking about maximizing that sponsorship beyond just on the field? You mentioned your sales team. I assume you're doing a lot on social, some trade.
We just tapped the surface with it. So you have a tremendous amount of opportunity to touch players, retired players. programs within there. One of the things that we did that was really a culturally relevant moment was we were in the midst of working with Mama Kelsey when Travis and Taylor started dating. So we ran a big sweepstakes and where she did a wine tasting in a box, and it was during the Chiefs and Eagles game. And so we just rode that Taylor wave. So that was amazing. So we just jumped on that moment in that time with her, and it was amazing.
What a fantastic and perfectly relevant story. So Amy, last question for you here. Who is a CMO or marketing leader that you admire or you think is doing something really breakthrough?
You know, Corey at Elf amazes me. I've met her a few times. I've seen her speak a few times. I'm a fan of Elf now. I use Elf myself. I never had.
Products.
It is a great product. I went to a hotel and forgot my stuff and ran to Target and I was like, this is really good. She's bold. And she's not afraid to say what she means and mean what she says. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for it. And she goes for it. She takes those risks.
She sure does. Amazing. Amy, thank you so much for joining us on Marketing for the Now.
Thank you.
Thrilled to be joined by Jenny Danzi from PepsiCo. Jenny, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
What do you think of the Future CMO Summit so far?
I'm having a blast. This is incredible. To be surrounded by nature and the future of AI upon us is incredible.
We're covering a lot of ground. So Jenny, let's start off by hearing a little bit about your career journey. You've been at PepsiCo for many years and you've covered a lot of ground, different geos, different regions, different business units. Talk to us about that journey.
I've really grown up at PepsiCo. I've been here for 16 years. And that's right.
Wow.
I started in innovation, working on new products. I worked on our Mountain Dew team. I ran social media off of my phone, which was like the dark ages. And I've worked on our Walmart team, our Starbucks partnership. I started our new incubator called The Hive, which was launching new brands. I got to spend some time in Shanghai. I've been doing NASCAR pit. We've been all over. So most recently, I had the privilege of stewarding the Pepsi brand team. And right now I'm working across our functional beverages portfolio, including welcoming Poppy to the family.
That must be very fun.
It is. Every day is fun. And it's really the scale of our brands and the fact that everyone in America consumes our products and has opinions on them. And that's what keeps me coming back for more.
And was PepsiCo your first job out of school?
It was.
Okay, so you're really, truly a lifer.
I bleed blue through and through.
Amazing. And, you know, when you think about your start class versus how many people are still at the company, are a lot of them still there?
No, I might be the only one left, but I was just texting with two of my best friends who I met my first day at Pepsi. So it's still a family.
I met my husband through a guy who was in my start class at Google, and like so many lifelong friends through that. So I feel like those start classes, for anyone who's listening to this, who's maybe just getting out of school or new in your career, the start classes matter. Be friends with those people.
I think that's right. I always say invest in your peers because you do. You grow up with these people, they become a network. It's so powerful.
Truly. So Jenny, across these 16 years at PepsiCo, can you talk to me about a few moments that you're really proud of?
Yes, I think every time that I said yes to a hard opportunity or a tough challenge, I'm proud of the direction that took me in. So I stepped out of marketing for a period and went to corporate strategy, which was a team of all ex-consultants, super smart, ex-McKinsey, ex-BCG, and then me. I was the diversity hire who understood how we actually delivered beverages to store. That is what took me to Shanghai. I got to spend time with the team there. I learned new skills. For a while, I was like dreaming in Excel because I was doing our portfolio growth modeling. And then more recently, we were working on Pepsi and really trying to get a strategy straight. And we had one of those moments where we just caught lightning in a bottle. We were working on a holiday program, which is traditionally our friends in Atlanta own the Christmas holiday. And we decided that it was Pepsi's turn. And so we were looking online at trends like dirty soda, and we decided to launch Pilk, which is Pepsi and milk. You should try it at home. It's actually delicious. And Lindsay Lohan came on board for that program, and it was just one of those moments, so it's a total pinch me. To work with an icon like that, to see how the internet responded, really felt like it culturally put Pepsi back on the map.
I thought you were going to talk about the Santa Switched campaign, which was also last year.
Round two.
Very, very good.
That was an amazing partnership with Vayner, where they went to the biggest Santa convention in the world in the streets of New York City, and I think it turned out that 8 out of 10 Santas preferred Pepsi. So that's been a really fun campaign for us too.
That was a great one, like the in the bodega shots. I loved those.
Yes, Santa was caught red-handed choosing Pepsi.
Yes. Okay. So Jenny, as you think about like the future and what the next 16 plus years hold for marketers, what do you see being the biggest drivers of change?
This is an industry that I think you have to get into because you love people and you're curious about them and you're curious about why they do the things they do. And in a lot of ways, that doesn't change, right? Over the past 20 years, over the next 20 years, you just have to follow where consumers are spending their time. But it's accelerating. And so I think a lot of what I'm being inspired by in these few days is how we stay on the pulse, how we stay curious, how even in the midst of your day job and trying to lead teams, you can take a step out and think about the future and think about these trends and try new things. So I think people are prompting AI to make videos of each other dancing around these grounds.
Sora, yes.
There's some fun to be had. So I think that's it. It's just how do you dive in and try it, and maybe not everything sticks, but you've got to understand these trends and be the ones creating the culture with it.
Speaking of creating culture, I know that it's been a big initiative at PepsiCo over the last year or so to really lean into all things social. How is that transformation journey going?
Really well. I was just reflecting on the results are incredible, and I think Gary has pushed us to pivot away from just efficiency and into output and impact. And I think there's been a healthy tension in how we do that the right way, because there are some brands like Mug Root Beer which can just be delightfully unhinged, and that is absolutely right for their consumer target. It is right for the brand. They've been having a lot of fun over the last couple of years, and you can see that in the growth numbers. And then there are brands like Pepsi that have 125 years of history, and I think you feel a real responsibility to be a good steward of that brand and put deposits in the bank and not just withdrawals. And so it's a little bit scary to push so much social output. But I think it's been the right partnership and a really good marriage, and the socials are looking good, and the results speak for themselves.
I love to hear that. Okay, so Jenny, as you think about chief marketing officers that you think are doing really cool stuff that you might admire, be like, "Ooh, I wish I did that." Anyone come to mind?
I'm going to give a shout out, as I always like to do, to my sister Stephanie Danzi, who's working in online dating, and she's been at Tinder. They're doing a ton with Gen Z in a way that I think is so empathetic. Just you can tell they love the category, they love their consumer, they really want them to have a good experience, and I think the creative they're putting out into the world, you can just feel it.
For one, I love your sister, another Vayner client, which is amazing and just like the biggest small world story. And the work that they're doing is so fun, so fresh, always pushing it. And it's one of those, almost to your point around Mug, like people want their, dating apps to like do something bold.
Yes, I think there should be joy in what we're doing, right? This is a fun industry. We're creating culture. We should absolutely be enjoying ourselves, because if we're not, there's no way the person on the other side of that content is.
Beautifully said. Jenny, thank you so much for making the time to be on Marketing for the Now.
Thank you, Avery. Good to see you.
Best interview of this Marketing for the Now will certainly be with Jason Felt, our wonderful partner and gracious host at Calamigos Ranch. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm great. It's good to have you here at the ranch.
We have had the absolute best time, and it's not over yet. 3 days at Calamigos Ranch is just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, it's a great escape. I always say that when I pull in here, which is not every day, but when I pull in, my blood pressure just drops. It's so close to LA, the city center, but it's a completely different place.
It feels like a whole other world.
It is. It's 300 acres. It's been here since 1937, so well before us. I'm sure it'll be here well after us. But it's an incredible place, and it's a place where people come share ideas. Everybody thinks, oh, it's a hotel or it's a wedding venue. It's like, no, it's a place where ideas are incubated and people share. And so to have Vayner here is just incredible.
I feel like we have a lot of great ideas flowing, but I want to unpack some of the magic that is in your brain, because you've had a very illustrious career in business and marketing. You are the youngest CEO of Virgin, which is pretty impressive. So tell us a little bit about your career journey.
It was interesting. It is interesting. It's
not over yet.
It's not. I chronicle it in my book, which I was telling Gary about last night, called Hollywood Virgin: Breaking into and Out of Entertainment Industry. But I was a small town boy from Texas, had big dreams to come to Los Angeles. Didn't want to be in front of the camera, wanted to be behind it, because I love the sort of the art of producing and putting things together, whether it be producing an event, or I found myself producing obviously TV shows and movies and music festivals and a lot of things that and all the sort of trials and tribulations that come with that. But at its core was marketing, right? If you're pushing out a piece of content, which Gary certainly knows well, very well, you have to sort of build and think through a marketing strategy behind that. And so content, and as we all know, content's king. So it's been fun.
Okay, so tell us some moments that you're proud of in your career.
I would say first and foremost is Limitless, the movie with Bradley Cooper.
So good.
And getting that over the line and making that movie. Very few people believed in that movie, and the studio believed in it, and it was great. And it allowed us, from a marketing perspective, at Virgin to then create the Limitless calling plan and the Limitless hydration on the planes and the Limitless flights. And so we were able to actually take a movie and an entertainment concept and turn it into something that was the gift that kept giving.
I feel like that's a through line in your career, Jason, is having a great idea and an insight and turning it into something that's a flywheel.
Wow, thank you. That's a compliment. I appreciate that. I always envision sort of like, I refer to it as the movie poster, but I always envision like the poster first, right? Very rarely do I not think about the marketing campaign before jumping into a project. So whether that be with any of my brand clients or here at Calamigos, it's really, for me, it's about understanding what are the goals and then creating the marketing campaign behind it, and then backing into actual execution.
Right, and making sure that the execution is absolutely flawless.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about how Calamigos attracted you.
Malibu resident, house was affected by the fires this past January.
Sorry to hear
which
that.
is horrible. Thank you, I appreciate it. And I came up to Calamigos. So they were welcoming in locals to stay at the ranch here, and I never wanted to leave.
Right.
So I started having conversations with the owner, and they learned that I was a brand strategist and brand marketer. They were in the process of transitioning Calamigos into a full-scale 5-star hotel. And started picking my brain, and I started giving my ideas, and before I knew it, they said, well, why don't you just come do this? And so I slowly sort of, transitioned into my role here, leading brand strategy and growth.
That's absolutely incredible. And one theme throughout being here the last couple of days has been so many people are like, oh, that's Jason's touch, like Jason's idea, Jason.
Oh, that's nice.
So it is certainly, the impact is certainly felt already. And yes. I think there's so many things within the world of Calamigos that people don't actually know. Like there's a 3D knitting factory here. There's a cows, like there's all kinds of things. Like tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's cows in 3D, very different.
Pizza ovens. It goes on and on.
I actually was just telling the owners of the ranch the other day that, Richard Branson once told me that the reason why he bought Necker Island was not to have an island, but it was because that people were tired of going to boardrooms, and that Necker Island provided this place for the incubation of ideas. And that's what's happening here at Calamigos. Calamigos, while it's been here since 1937, and it has a beautiful hotel and event venues, it is a place where companies come together for their corporate board meetings. It also has a membership component, so private membership component, which is pretty special, made up of corporate CEOs and business owners and celebrities and people who want to have a second space, and it's it's a very different sort of family atmosphere here.
There's also a beach club.
There's a beach club, very very European of us.
Spa. It's just like the list goes on and on and on.
Wellness and longevity, for sure. That is the focus of Calamigos, especially going into next year. We're focused on 3 and 4 day retreats and just having people live longer. You got to have them live forever.
Got to have them live forever, and probably if they hit that salt wall in the spa, maybe they will.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we're a big Calamigos commercial right now.
Yeah, no, I mean I think that this is just such a unique place that there's a lot of different dimensions to what you all offer here, and hearing you and Garrett share a bit about it was really fascinating.
Yeah, he's an incredible visionary, and he and his family, dreamed up what this next evolution of Calamigos is. So it's been fun redefining it, and taking all the learnings I had from almost 20 years at Virgin, which at its core was a lifestyle brand.
20 years.
20 years. So,
goodness.
Yeah, youngest CEO next to Richard Branson. Obviously, he was the youngest CEO of a Virgin company. But second youngest. Yeah. So end of that journey, on to the next, which is being part of causes that I care about, and Calamigos is not just a commercial business, but has Calamigos Cares, which gives back to the community in a very meaningful way, which is pretty special. So there's purpose behind the business, and I think that's a big part of what drew me to it.
Yeah, and as you think about what attracts other people to this place, and you think about the big marketing message for a place like Calamigos, what comes to mind? What makes this place relevant and special beyond once you're here, it's fantastic, but how do you spread the word?
I think I think heretofore it's been spreading the word, word of mouth, right? It's if you know, you know. A lot of people, locals in Los Angeles, because it's just 20, 30 minutes outside of Los Angeles, they'll arrive and they'll be like, how do I not know about this? It's like so close to home, but a world away. And I think that for us, the profile has been growing pretty significantly over this past year. We're named #1 resort in Southern California, which is great. And
unsurprising.
Best resort in Los Angeles. And so I think, as the profile builds, more and more people will be made aware of it. But it's kind of nice having it as a little secret, although this may not be a secret any longer.
Yeah, maybe after this episode. And as someone who spent a lot of time in Hollywood and now spending a lot of time on a ranch, what are some of the surprising parallels between both?
Oh, I would say surprising parallels or differences. Differences as there's complete authenticity and a sense of family here. Over the hill in Hollywood, there's no authenticity, or very little. So it's actually been nice to be sort of grounded in some core values, and which is nice. I would say parallels are, experience. Right, Hollywood has been at the forefront of tourism forever. The Hollywood as an industry and the entertainment industry is about creating experiences, right, large and small. And you see this, through, just marketing in general.
The Hollywood Hills, that sign just already.
It is.
It's iconic.
It is. Or the Malibu Mountains,
Exactly.
But I think that not very many parallels. I think that Calamigos represents an escape from that world. And I think that's why you see our Calamigos Private Members Club really resonating with Hollywood and the entertainment industry, whether it be CEOs of studios or it be celebrities or it be, fashion designers. It's resonating for sure.
It certainly is. And Jason, as you think about a CMO or marketing leader that you admire or brand you think is just killing it, could be surprising or could be expected, who comes to mind?
I would say, I have a few that Gary's one of them, actually.
Love that.
And I shared with him last night that I learned everything I needed to know about wine from Wine Library TV back in the early 2000s.
We're bringing it back, by the way. He's done a few
episodes. Are you serious?
Recently. Yeah.
Oh, I handed him a glass of wine last night. He said, "What is this?" And he named it. I was like, "Okay, that's impressive." I was just blown away.
He is an encyclopedia on wine.
He's fantastic. But as a marketer, he's I would say Gary, and I would say Richard Branson for sure. Richard Branson.
Two
for sure.
icon. I think that the way that you just identified those marketers is exactly right. At the end of the day, they are innovators, but they are also, it's all about the brand for both of them, I think. Yeah. The power of the brand should never be underestimated.
And the brand sort of continuity, consistency, authenticity, never deviating, always just being consistent. And I think that's what you get with a guy like Gary Vaynerchuk or a guy like Richard Branson. And I know you didn't pay me to say that.
No.
but it's true. And that's why I was so excited to have Vayner here at Calamigos, because VaynerMedia stands for something, which is great.
We try to. Well, Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. This was fantastic. I learned even more about Calamigos on this pod.
Yeah, perfect.
Our next guest is Natalie Wills. Natalie is visiting us, I think, probably the longest journey to the Future CMO Summit. So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from.
Great. So my name's Natalie, and I'm joining today from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, where I'm based. And I work for Expedia Group, and I lead marketing for 3 iconic brands, so Expedia, Hotels.com, and Vrbo. And I do that globally. And so I'm here actually quite often. So I managed to fit this wonderful trip in the middle of a work trip. So it was actually good timing.
I feel like you are a global traveler and on the plane all the time, literally a professional travel expert. So we appreciate you fitting us in.
No problem. Great to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your accent. I was just asking you about this, but where are you originally from?
Well, I'm born in Zimbabwe, which for those of you who don't know is a country in Southern Africa. And then I moved to South Africa when I was probably in my early childhood days, around 8 or 9 years old, and lived in South Africa most of my childhood life. And then I moved to London and worked there for 10 years. And now I'm in Amsterdam. So I've pretty much been outside of South Africa and Africa for more of my life now.
Africa is one of those places that I love every time I get the chance to visit and go on vacation there. And every time I'm there, I text Gary, like, well, let's open an office in South Africa. Let's open an office in Kenya.
I'll join.
Yes. I mean, it's just such a place of like, I don't need to tell you, but significant expansion, like this huge young population who's all coming online, all, increasing their consumption power all at once. So it's a very exciting place to be.
Yeah, and actually Cape Town is pretty amazing because Cape Town is one of the places where you see so many digital nomads.
Yes.
So loads of people just working from there, extremely entrepreneurial. But I mean, I can't blame them because the lifestyle is just incredible.
Great hotels available on, of course, Expedia's properties. You have incredible wine like Stellenbosch. You have the beach. You have like nearby to safaris. There's truly so much to love about South Africa.
Totally true. Totally true.
Okay, but we're here to talk about marketing and not South Africa. So Natalie, how did you go from Zimbabwe to being the SVP of marketing at Expedia Group?
Well, to tell you the truth, I feel like I have just always trusted my gut. And because I started out actually as a sales rep for South African breweries that has since been acquired by AB InBev. But I started as a sales rep after university, and I just absolutely loved working with people and communications, and stayed with South African breweries for a while. And then actually moved to London, and I was at South African breweries working as a brand manager for the Miller beer portfolio, so the American beer portfolio. And then was at Unilever for a bit, then moved to Amsterdam with Diageo, working on their reserve portfolio. So that's what took me to Amsterdam. I'm not sure if you know that they are also based there, their global office.
Diageo?
Yeah.
I thought it was in London.
Yeah, the global office for a lot of their brands are based in Amsterdam, so I moved there. And then started working at Zalando. So for those of you who don't know, Zalando is an online fashion company in Europe. And that was actually where I really developed my love for technology, because it was so fast moving. It was very, very digital, whereas I think FMCG took a lot longer to catch up.
Yes, they're
in that
still in their
space.
journey.
It took a lot longer. I mean, we at Diageo, we weren't even on Amazon, so it was just a real wake up call. And at Zalando, it was during COVID, so online fashion was going absolutely nuts. And I absolutely loved it there. And actually, during my time there, I was working with a coach, and she said to me, you know what, actually, now since you've taken this job, I realize that you really are a journey person. I was like, what does that mean? And she was like, well, actually, you get destination and journey people. Destination people, they like to be at a company where everything's worked out. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be making a difference, but they need to be somewhere that everything's worked out. But you shine when you're somewhere where you need to fix a lot of things and nothing is worked out. So I've kind of followed that path, and then that made me join Booking.com actually, and I was at Booking.com for nearly 3 years, and now at Expedia. So I feel that I've always just followed that journey line and trusted my gut, and it's brought me here.
The journey constantly continues. It's funny you use that phrase. It's something that Gary says a lot, is that it's all about the journey, and you have to enjoy that, and you have to enjoy the highs and the lows that come along with it. And there's also been a lot of highs in your career. So can you maybe tell me a moment or two that you're proud of?
Yeah, great. I feel probably like when I was at Zalando, and honestly, I have to say that I probably worked with some of the most talented people ever at Zalando. People that work in fashion are just so on the cusp of everything cutting edge digital. So when I was at Zalando, we really launched the brand fully on TikTok and took off on Instagram. And I think we were so proud of it because it wasn't just content noise. It was content that actually made a difference. So the brand really stood for certain values, and it was just really a very proud moment to see how the community actually just reacted to all the content that we were constantly putting out. And I think it's quite difficult to get there for brands, because often you just sort of posting whatever, we've had a lot of these conversations this week. It's quite easy to just follow.
Yes.
And
especially in FMCG, it's like the bottle, a place like Diageo, I say this with love, longtime partner and client of ours.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just kind of bottle porn or looking beautiful on the beach or
and it's so disappointing. It's just, and cocktail recipes.
Yes.
So I think there's such a lot that can be done there, and it feels like such a creative area which lots of brands just don't take advantage of really well. So I think that also made me develop a huge love for brand marketing in the digital space, and something that I'm truly starting to push at Expedia. And so, yeah, watch this space because it's going to be way more exciting.
We're responsible for this, so we are very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, no pressure.
And Natalie, last question for you is, who is a marketing leader or CMO that you admire or you think is doing something absolutely groundbreaking?
Wow. Wow, that's a tough question. You know what? I'm going to use Shelley from the Female Quotient.
I love that.
And the reason for that is, I mean, she's just groundbreaking from, everything she's done in her career.
Angles.
But I'd say what I really love about her is just she has never lost what is true to her and her true values. And she's always, similar to me, trusted her gut. So when we spoke to her today, I just loved how she was giving so many authentic examples of how she's always followed, what she truly believes in. And I think I hope to follow that in my career, because I think it's really refreshing to have someone that doesn't conform.
A great piece of advice. Follow your gut. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us on Marketing for the Now.
Thank you so much.
So happy to be sitting here with Jennifer Ritter-Anthony, who is the SVP and marketing leader at Yuhaaviatam Tribe of San Manuel, which includes incredible properties like Yamava. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So what do you think, as a hospitality professional yourself, of the experience so far?
It's been amazing. I've never actually heard of this resort, but now that I'm here, I'm going to have to definitely come back.
It is such a special one. So let's start off by hearing a little bit about you. Tell us a bit about your career journey. I know you've bounced around, living in Florida, living in California, and doing all different types of incredible work.
Yeah, I had a kind of strange journey. I'll try to give the Cliff Note version. I actually am an engineer by trade.
Wow.
Mechanical engineer, worked for a little while in that. I kind of fell into casinos when I was living in Vegas. Started in analytics and then eventually moved over to marketing. I've worked for companies like Foxwoods, Resorts World, and Caesars, and then most recently...
Foxwoods in Connecticut?
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yep, I love them. We're still friends up there. They're great people. Proud to have that on my resume, but love even more being part of the tribe down here now.
And within all the work that you do for the tribe, for Yuhaaviatam, there's Yamava, there's multiple different parts. So tell us a little bit about what that entails.
Yeah, so I guess the easiest way to say it is all of marketing for Yamava Casino Resort, San Manuel, located kind of in the base of Big Bear. I run marketing for all of that. But we also have a couple departments that kind of branch across some of the other portfolio properties, including the Palms in Las Vegas. And now,
stunning property, by the way.
It is, isn't it? Everyone should go. Little off strip, but it's good actually. And then most recently, the tribe has acquired the Mall of Astoria in Dana Point as of last week. So I'm happy to say that, very proud. And,
wow.
And including their golf course. So that's a new addition to the portfolio.
And what would you say is the crown jewel of the portfolio?
It's hard to say because everyone's like a little bit different. I'm a little biased to Yamava because that's where I started. And I go there every day, but every property has a little bit of its own kind of uniqueness.
Tell me a little bit about the trends that are driving innovation in the world of marketing for the hospitality and casino industry.
Well, I think right now, what's good for us is I think post-COVID and in this digital world, people are really looking for experiences.
Yes.
So we've done, I think, a phenomenal job in creating experiences at each of the properties, unique ones. We have a 5-star Forbes rated spa. We are the only 5-diamond casino. But we also have amazing talent in our theater. We've just had Green Day. It's only 2,500 seats. So if you ever thought about you'd see Green Day from an arena and 2,500 seats, it's pretty amazing. So we like to kind of double down on that, right? Like give people something that they can't get anywhere else. And then, of course, we have to market it, let people know that that's happening so that they can come out and visit us. We are, again, a little unique in the sense of people have to visit us. So we have that additional hurdle of the marketing where it's not just click and buy. You
Right.
actually have to be intentional and get in your
You have to
car.
actually get your butt there.
Exactly right. So that's an additional hurdle that we have to come over.
And what are some of the strategies that have been most effective to get people to come visit you all?
So we have amazing promotions and events, and then we promote it all on social. We really do appreciate our partnership with Vayner. They've been helping us tremendously. And we've made great strides, I think, in getting the word out of all the stuff that's happening on property.
And talk to me a little bit about that social journey, our incredible content maker right here. You're part of it too. But talk to me a little bit about that social journey, because I've seen like endlessly like viral posts from your account.
Yeah, so, we started slow a little bit, feeling each other out, trying to understand where the guardrails are, what our brand represents. And then as of late, we've just been flooding content out there the best we can with everything. The good news is we have so much going on. There's always some sort of content that we can create. I love seeing your team on the floor. I run into them occasionally out there, accidentally walk through some of their filming occasionally, so I apologize. But yeah, they've been doing amazing stuff, and we just continue to learn and grow together.
And beyond just social, you all do a lot in the world of experiential. You talked about the Kings. You have a lot of these sort of sponsorship partners. How do those fit into the mix?
Good question. So go Dodgers, World Series coming up here. So hopefully, we're going to amplify what's happening in the stadium, on property, through social, digital advertising, all of the above.
Amazing. And as you think about marketing leaders who've stood out to you in your career, any that come to mind as someone that you're like, wow, they're really doing something impressive. Wow, I really look up to that person?
Gary Vee, probably
Yes.
being one of the most notable. I just spent 10 minutes with him, and just the way that his
10 minutes with Gary can feel like 2 hours,
it's
right?
just the way. Oh, and then we had that great night last night out, with the wine in the circle, and just some amazing things being talked about, and just where his mind goes is just, it's kind of awe-inspiring.
Amazing. And as you think about like what's going to shape the next couple of years at your company, where are you betting big?
Oh, we're going to continue to double down on the experiences, but we're throwing some of the collectibles in the mix.
Okay.
So we've recently done a Michael Jordan rookie card. We did a Action Comics #1. So
Cool.
if anybody knows, that's the very first Superman. We kind of launched that around the time that the Superman movie came out. Some of our biggest promotions, and we did some Labubu's as well. So we believe that there's something there. We're going to try to lean into that a little bit harder.
All right, watch this space. You will see Yamava and the rest of Jennifer's incredible portfolio playing in collectibles, playing in live experiences, and of course, getting people to come visit them in person. Jennifer, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us on
Yeah,
Marketing
thank
for the
you.
Now.
I love being here. Thanks again.